Hello, this is Ms. DB. In this video I'm going to go through how to do a few of the problems from the Adding and Subtracting Fractions, the riddles worksheet that's in your week 7 folder. So we're going to be adding fractions here. You can see there's two worksheets to do. The first one is all adding and the second one is all subtracting. And on all of them we need to get common denominators before we're able to add or subtract. So you find the common denominators by looking at the multiples of each number and finding the one that would work for both of them. So we look at the denominators. So in number 1 we have the denominators of 2 and 5. So the multiples of 2 are 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, and we keep going until we find one that we think would work with our other denominator, which is 5. So 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10. We stop when we find one that's common with our first one. That's called the least common multiple. That's what we're going to use as our new denominator. So we're changing these both into something out of 10. So we have to change 1 out of 2 to tenths, and we have to change 1 over 5 to tenths. So then there's different ways of doing this, but usually I think, well, what times 2 is equal to 10? And that's 5. 5 times 2 is equal to 10. So that means I also have to multiply the numerator by 5. So I get 5 tenths. So 1/2 is equivalent to 5 tenths. And then for 1/5, I think, what do I multiply 5 by to get 10? And the answer is 2. So I take 5 times 2 to get 10. That means I also have to multiply the numerator by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So my new problem is 5 tenths plus 2 tenths. And the rule for adding fractions is you leave the denominator the same. It'll still be tenths. And you add the numerator. So 5 plus 2 is 7. So the answer for number 1 is 7 tenths. Now for 5 problems on this page you have to show your work, so that's how you would show your work for one of the problems. Then the next step is to come over here to the possible answer bank and find that answer. Here it is. So number 1, the letter that would go with number 1 is R. So at the bottom of the worksheet you have these blanks, and for number 1 it would be R. And you can do this on a piece of paper instead of trying to, if you're typing, this is an image so you won't be able to type right on here, but you can just match it up, and then when you're done just type the answer that will work with these letters. Okay, let's look at another one that doesn't have 1 in the numerator. How about number 10? So in 10 we have 3/14 and 5/12. So our first step is to find a common denominator. I don't know what that would be, so I'm going to write some of the multiples out. 14 times 1 is 14, 14 times 2 is 28, 14 times 3, I'm getting my calculator out here to start doing these, 14 times 3 is 42, I'm going to do another one, 14 times 4, 56, 14 times 5, I'll stop after that one, and if I'll come back and do more if I don't find one after I do the 12s, is 70. Okay, now I'll do some of the 12s. 12 times 1 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24, 12 times 3 is 36, 12 times 4 is 48, 12 times 5 is 60. So far I don't have a common multiple, so I'd have to keep going. What was I on? 12 times 6, 12 times 7 is 84, I think. Yep. And I think that's going to be my next 14. So I had 14 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to do 14 times 6. 14 times 6. Is it 84? Yes, it is. So that is my common denominator to use. That's the least common multiple. So I need to get both. I don't know where that circle came from. I'm gonna fix that. Okay, I have to rewrite 3/14 with 84 as its denominator. And that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was times 6. 14 times 6 was 84. So I also have to multiply the numerator by 6. So that would be 18 over 84. And then I need to change twelfths, 5 twelfths, into something out of 84. So let's see, 12 times, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 times 7. So 5 times 7. So I have to add together these two new fractions, 18 over 84 plus 35 over 84. 18, and when you only add the numerators together, that's not right, 35. 35 plus 18 is equal to 53. So I would get 53 over 84. So that was a lot of work. So let's hope that 53 over 84 is one of my possible answers in this answer bank over here. And it is. That's nice to see, isn't it? So that's a U. So what problem number was this? This was number 10. So for 10, I would put a U, and I see there's another place to put the U down here. There's 2 10s showed up. And you would continue doing that until you solve. Remember, for 5, you got to show your work. For the other 7 problems, if you want to use your fraction calculator to do these, you can. This calculator does not have a fraction key on it, but you might have a handheld one that does have a fraction. You can also, like for number 5, that would be easy to do with decimal approximation. 4 is already 4. 1/3, watch this, is 0.33333. So if I added 4 to that, I would get 4.33333. So that's not going to appear in the answer bank, but 4.333 is the same as 4 1/3. So that would be letter I for number 5. So whereas there, that's going to be an I right here. And when you're all done, you'll be able to answer the question, what happened when the magician got mad? It should make sense. Alright, on the next part, you're going to do pretty much the same thing, except these are subtracting fractions. So you still need to get a common denominator, and then you subtract the two numerators, the first numerator minus the second numerator. Let's do how about number 5? And again, you need to show your work on 5 problems of these. And you can go ahead and show your work on the ones that I'm doing, and then you might have to show your work on all of them if that's the way you're doing these problems. So number 5 says 7/10 minus 13/20. This one's going to be easy to find the common denominator. I already know what it is. It's 20. Because the multiples of 10, 10 times 1, 10 times 2, the second multiple of 10 is 20, so that would be the common denominator. That means we don't have to change the second fraction. I only need to change the first fraction into 20ths. And that's easy to do because 10 times 2 equals 20. So I need to multiply my numerator by 2 as well. So I get 14/20, that's my first fraction rewritten, my equivalent fraction, minus 13/20. And then you only subtract the numerators, so the denominator stays as 20. 14 minus 13 is 1. Right there, it's an O. So for number 5, down below, you'll look for 5. You'll put an O anytime you see the number 5. Oh, there's a few of them. That was a good one to do. Okay, and I said I would do 2. How about one like number 9? That looks funny. So it's -2 minus 3/4. So I'm going to start by writing this as -2 over 1 minus 3/4. So one of my denominators is 1 and the other one is 4. There's no reason to write the common multiples of 1 because it would, I did that wrong, it would be 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 3, 1 times 4. It's just going to be a whole list of the integers. But one of those, of course, is the same as the other one's denominator. So the common denominator is 4. So I need to change my first fraction into 4ths. So of course it's 1 times 4 to get 4, so I also have to multiply the top by 4. So that's -8/4. So my new problem becomes negative 8/4 minus, leave the second fraction alone, negative 3/4. Now they're both negative. And if you remember, the rule for subtracting when you have is to add the opposite. So we'd have negative 8 plus negative 3. And then the rule for adding when you have both negatives is you add these together and take the sign of both. So this would equal negative 11/4. Now I don't see negative 11/4, so that means they changed their answer to a mixed number. So I left mine as an improper fraction. To change it to a mixed number, you take your bottom number and divide it into your top number. We won't really worry about that negative part right now. So 4 goes into 11 2 times, because 4 times 3 is 12, that'd be too big. So that's a remainder of 8. 11 minus 8 is 3. So the remainder becomes the top number of your new fraction. Here's another way to think of this. It's 11/4. So I have a pie divided into fourths. How many of those pies do I have to get 11 pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I need 2 whole pies plus another 3/4 of a pie to equal 11/4. Okay, so negative 2 3/4. Here it is, T. So that was number 9. So wherever I see a 9, I will put letter T. Wow, there's also a lot of T's. Lots of T's. I think I'll do one more problem. This is kind of hard, the subtracting ones, if you haven't done them for a while. Let's look at number 4. So we have 1/6 minus 3. So the first thing we need to do is rewrite 3 as 3/1. So we can see that our common denominator of both of these is 6. I need to change negative, we won't worry about the negative, I need to change 3/1 into 6ths. Well, 1 times 6 is 6 for the denominator, so that means I have to multiply the numerator by that. So I have 1/6 minus 18/6. So be careful here. We really are just looking at 1 minus 18, and 1 minus 18 is negative 17. So negative 17/6, but that's not going to show up over here, is it? Because that is not written as a mixed number. So 17/6, we have to change 17/6 into a mixed number. Let's think about a pie that has 6 pieces in it, because that's what the bottom number says. So there's 6 pieces. There's another 6 pieces, so I'm up to 12. How many more pieces do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I only need 5 of those 6 pieces for my last pie. So I have 1 whole one plus another whole one plus 5/6. So 2 whole pies plus 5/6 of another pie is 17/6. Does that show up somewhere? Oh, and it was negative because, number 4 this is, because the 3 was the minus sign. So negative 2 and 5/6. So that's R. So number 4 is R. Is that the only 4 that shows up? Looks like it. So you can finish this and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.